Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. And today it just feels like it's got a little bit crazier, as if, sometimes I think it can't get any crazier, but it does. It gets crazier every day, doesn't it? I'm feeling very, very emotional uh, for this news that's come in, and I think I was trying to think why do I feel so emotional about it? And I think the reason is that Gene Hackman. Those of you like me who are of a certain age, you'll know exactly who Gene Hackman is. He's an actor from years ago, but he won 2 Oscars. He's a very good actor, and he's in. He's elderly. He is sadly deceased. That's what we're going to talk about, and he's elderly, and he's had a good life, I suppose you could say, and a good long life. But I think why it makes us sad when someone like this, for people like me who, ever since I was born, really, or since I can remember noticing about actors and watching films, Gene Hackman has been around, a famous actor, like the likes of Clint Eastwood or Al Pacino or Robert De Niro. He's just one of those actors like that you remember. If you're of a certain age, as I say, and I know I have viewers of all different ages. And some of you younger ones, you may not even know who Gene Hackman is because he hasn't actually been on our screens for quite a long time now. Bearing in mind, he was 95 when he was found deceased on Wednesday. So, I think it's been quite a while since he's actually been in a film. So, yeah, but it's funny, isn't it? Because even though, as I say, one of those enduring sort of names that you sort of remember, even though he hasn't been on the screens for years. For me, when I saw this headline, I was just like, what? I mean, apart from the fact it's very strange circumstances, which makes it all the sadder, I think. But, even if he would have died naturally, and we don't know yet exactly the cause of death. But even if it was, at 95, you don't expect to live forever, do you? But it still would have been a massive shock. But I think what's making it an even more massive shock is it's really emotional, the circumstances. I can feel myself getting emotional as I'm talking about. I haven't even started yet. Anyway, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everybody who is watching. Thank you to all of you who share the way I feel. I know there'll be a lot of you out there that are shocked. Thing is, when actors get to a certain age, actors and actresses, and they disappear off our screens, we don't really know what's happening in their lives, do we? Except when as we're going to see in a minute, when some of the press maybe see them out getting a burger or putting their rubbish in the bin or walking their dogs and, take video footage of them. We don't really get to hear about them, once they come off the screens, be it TV screens or cinema screens. But for Gene Hackman's name to resonate so much, it just shows how famous he was in the day, in his time. Whatever age you are, you may not know about Gene Hackman if you're a younger person. But there'll be time that will come in years to come where you'll hear about an actor from your era, or who was very famous in your era, and you'll think, oh my God, I can't believe that. But also, these have been very strange circumstances. So thank you for caring about Gene. Thank you for caring and joining me here to talk about this, because it would definitely help me. It has made me ridiculously emotional, which I'm not sure why, because when he was at the peak of his fame, he's almost before my time, really. I mean, he's not before my time, but I was only young when he was famous on the cinema screens, etc. I mean, I was only about 9 or 10. But his name is so well known, and then of course he carried on his career after that. He's like, I don't know, if you were trying to think of famous actors that had sort of pass the test of time, I suppose. People like Clint Eastwood, people like Al Pacino, Robert De Niro. I would put Gene Hackman in that bracket, but anyway, so yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for please remember to leave your DNA on the like button. Please remember to subscribe and share. Please remember as well. No, that's it for the remembering. Thank you. Special thanks to my members. We've got members live tonight. It's Thursday, so we'll be doing a special live this evening for my members. Thank you to people who've bought me Ko-Fis. Thank you to people that have sent super stickers. Any way you've supported my channel, thank you so much. Okay, so now I've said my thanks. I'm going to say hello to everyone. I mean, and let me know in comments, is this sort of, who did, I mean, there'll be some of you, I'd say, who would be like, Gene who? But for those of you who this affected, let me know, because I think it's, especially the circumstances, very strange circumstances, maybe not that strange really, but what are the reasons? Well, we don't know the cause of death yet, but the police, as usual, are saying no suspicious circumstances, no immediate threat. Sounds like this was, well, anyway, we don't know what it is, but I'm going to explain to you what happened or what we know so far, and then you leave your comments. There's no point saying don't speculate. Of course, we're going to speculate. It's natural to do that, especially in these circumstances. But let me say hello to everybody anyway. So hi Joanne. I know, it's so tragic, isn't it? So tragic. Hi Admit. Hi Linda. Hi Yvonne. Yeah, I don't know why it came as such a shock, really, but I suppose because we haven't heard much about Gene Hackman for a long time. So then to just see his name mentioned in these circumstances, it's like, because they're mysterious circumstances as well. I know the police say they're not looking for any suspicious circumstances. Oh, my earrings come out. But it seems like, although there might not be suspicious circumstances, it does not seem like it was it a natural death, or because he has been found, Gene Hackman, he was 95, but his current wife, he's been married twice, which is not bad for Hollywood legends, really, is it? Only 2 marriages. His first wife he was married to for about 30 years, and they had children. And then his second wife, who I believe she's a classical pianist, they'd been married for quite a long time as well, but don't think they had any children together. I need to have a look. Let's have a look at Wikipedia, because I've got, I didn't know about his personal circumstances. Let's have a look. Yeah, so he was married. He was born in 1930. So as I say, what that English expression that we have, he had a good innings. I mean, to your family, that doesn't matter how old you are, does it? At the end of the day, because, when you lose someone, you're losing someone. And he has children, though his children, of course, will be adults now as well. He probably has grandchildren, maybe even great-grandchildren. So he was born on January the 30th in 1930 in San Bernardino in California. And he's died on February the 26th, aged 95, in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And he was active as an actor from 1959 to 2004. So he was married in 1956 to Faye Maltese, and they divorced in 1986. So 30 years they were married, and he married Betsy Arakawa in 1991, and she died, of course, on the same day as Gene. But the circumstances are not known. Now, she is 30 years younger than him. She was in her 60s. And the other thing that happened was, not only he was found with Betsy, both deceased, but the dog as well, their dog also. So what's happened there? You know, what has happened? So here is Gene Hackman when he was in the army. Gosh, he looks unrecognisable there. When he was young, looks completely different, doesn't he? Bless him. And of course, it's important to remember that even someone of 95, they were a young person once. He was in the army. High Angel. He was in the Marine Corps. So he's had quite a lot of famous roles, but I think probably his most famous roles are as Popeye Doyle in The French Connection, which is a brilliant film. And I hope that Netflix puts these films back on, because that may be what happens, because obviously it's a very old film, The French Connection. It was 1971, but I think it would still stand the test of time. I think people would watch it and still enjoy it. And of course, he also gained fame for playing Lex Luthor. We're going to watch an excerpt of that in Superman in 1978, alongside Christopher Reeve, who of course played Superman, but unfortunately had an accident, didn't he? And he became paraplegic. And he's no longer with us either. He was also in the Poseidon Adventure, Scarecrow, The Conversation, A Bridge Too Far, Under Fire, Power, Loose Cannons, etc. And probably other films that weren't so well known. And his last film was Welcome to Mooseport in 2004, after which he retired from acting. He still did some writing. He was still, around about. Now, another thing I just want to say before I carry on, he was an enthusiastic Democrat as far as politics are concerned. And, this part of me thinks, has this contributed towards what's happened with the Hackman family? Are they just so, because it feels like, now we don't know if Gene Hackman died natural causes or whether it was this some sort of self-deletion pact between him and his wife and the dog. We just don't know. But listen, it's not a coincidence when 3 people from one household die. It's not a coincidence. We have to be realistic. It's not coincidence when a husband, a wife, and the dog are all found dead. Something's happened there. There's some, pact, hopefully a pact and not, a red rum and a self-deletion. But, we don't know yet. The ins and outs, we don't know what was going on. We don't know how ill he was or wasn't. Or she may have been ill. His wife, she may be 30 years younger than him, but that doesn't mean to say that she might have had some health problems. I don't know how old the dog was. My heart's breaking for the dog as well, because at the end of the day, whatever happened between Eugene and his wife, maybe they had a choice in what happened, but the dog won't have had any choice. But I think that's why, it's very sad, isn't it? The whole situation is heartbreaking. So I want to show you, first of all, how it was reported on, was it BBC? Yeah. I'm going to try not to cry because, I'm just going to try not to.
And along with his wife, Betsy, have been found dead in their home in New Mexico in the United States. This is breaking news. Details are still scarce. Police are saying that this is currently an active investigation, but they don't believe that there was foul play as being a factor in the deaths of these 2 people. But it will be a shocking development that Gene Hackman, along with his wife Betsy, have been found dead at their home in Santa Fe in New Mexico. Now, Gene Hackman, of course, to all film lovers.
She didn't mention the dog, but I think that's relevant that the dog died. So, as you say, David, it could be carbon monoxide poisoning because they've all died at the same time. I don't think it is carbon monoxide poisoning. I doubt that. What would they have? Well, maybe they had something that gave off carbon monoxide. I'd be very surprised. I think this is probably some sort of a pact, and maybe the dog was very elderly, but I don't know.
Will be very, very well known. He received 2 Oscars and 2 BAFTAs in his long career, which spanned decades. Among the awards, he won Best Oscar in 1972 for his role as Detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle in The French Connection. And he was, of course, had 4 Golden Globes and also a Screen Actors Guild Award. And just to restate the statement from Santa Fe County Sheriff in New Mexico, saying that we can confirm that both Gene Hackman and his wife were found deceased on Wednesday afternoon at their residence in Sunset Trail. They add that this is an active investigation. However, at this time, we do not believe that foul play was a factor. So, as my colleague...
Yeah, foul play. When they say foul play, though, what do they mean? Do they mean foul play as in someone outside the home doing something, or, would that be included in some sort of pact between them? No, yeah, you're right, David. It could be the boiler. I had a friend years ago here in Spain. Actually, this guy, his wife worked in a bar, and he was in the bar with his brother-in-law who'd just arrived on holiday, and they were having a drink in the bar. The wife hadn't finished work yet, so they went off home. And when the wife arrived home, I don't know, an hour later or whatever after she'd finished work, it was literally just round the corner, she had to crawl out of that house on her hands and knees. She found this guy, my friend Chris, him and his brother-in-law were dead in the house. And that was a leak from a gas boiler. As I changed or my boiler, I will only have an electric boiler and it's outside anyway. But their gas boiler was in the kitchen. This was in Spain. Their gas boiler was in the kitchen, and it was horrible really, because they'd phoned to get it checked. They were a bit worried about it. But his wife, she literally came out of that house on her hands and knees. She's lucky to be alive. She went into the house, and carbon monoxide poisoning, it acts so quick and it's so lethal. She literally nearly succumbed to it just by walking into the house. But she found their bodies and crawled out of the house, raised the alarm. It was too late for my friend and his brother-in-law, who literally, I think, had just arrived that day or the day before on holiday. And one of them was having a shower. But the gas pilot blew out. I don't know, who knows what happens in these cases, or maybe it was just giving up, or, maybe it just needed, because they need servicing, of course. Anyway, that was it. That was the end of them. 2 people just killed just like that by carbon monoxide poisoning. So I know how lethal carbon monoxide poisoning can be from a boiler. I wouldn't have a gas boiler in my house. If you've got to have a gas boiler, at least have it outside. That's what we tend to do here in Spain. But my boiler's electric. I wouldn't touch a gas boiler. Now, it's possible that that's happened, isn't it? I suppose it's possible, but I'm just saying, I just don't think so. But I don't know for sure. Is it just he's coming to the end of his life? At the end of the day, he was 95. We're going to look at some footage of him the last time, or when he was 93, and he was seen out and about. He was driving. He was, is it because maybe he'd got to a point where they just, he had got too ill. Maybe his wife didn't want to face life without him, even though she's younger. Or I'd say maybe it was her that was ill. Just because he's the older one doesn't mean say he's not the one with that she's not the one with the problems. Also, of course, this, I thought, God, there's a lot of people probably a bit depressed after everything that's going on with Trump. Maybe they just, sometimes, the world today, it is quite a scary world, isn't it? It's quite a dark world. And because we can see everything that's going on all over the world, it feels more claustrophobic, it feels darker. So, was it anything to do with that, or was it nothing to do with that? But if they're saying there's no suspicious circumstances, then basically what they're saying is there's no third party involved. Wasn't a robbery gone wrong. Does it? So all the details will come out, I expect. But it just seems a shame for the dog as well.
Charlotte has been describing to us a developing story. Details, Charlotte, very, very scarce at the moment. But just to reiterate what Santa Fe County Sheriff is saying, they're confirming that Gene Hackman and his wife were found deceased. But at the moment, it's an active investigation, but they do not believe that foul play was a factor.
No, they're not suspecting any foul play. They haven't given any causes of death for Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy. But obviously, as we've been saying, these are unusual circumstances for two people and their family dog to be found dead in their home at the same time. So as you said, this is an active investigation, but there are no suspicious circumstances in terms of they're not looking for anybody else involved in this. Now, this has just broke in the last hour or so, so we're getting...
Yeah, the thing is that you can't say there's no suspicious circumstances when two people and a dog are found dead at home. For just like that. Of course, it's suspicious. I don't like it when the police say that, but I know what they mean. What they should say is that, they don't think there's any third party involved, because they can't get more suspicious than two people and a dog being found dead just in the same moment. I mean, and why did the police go around there? Had an alarm been sent out? Maybe they themselves sent out a message, or maybe they sent a message to their families, to say what was going to happen, and they alerted the authorities. Sorry, I think I'm going to cry. It just seems so sad that anyone would get to the point. I know, at the end of the day, Gene Hackman was 95 and he'd had a really good life. But the woman, she was still only in her 60s, and the dog, but maybe the dog was very elderly. Maybe they didn't want to leave the dog to go and live with somebody else. Maybe they were worried, maybe the dog was ill. I mean, do you know what? We just don't know, do we? But it's so very tragic.
Details as and when. It's a breaking story. We don't know too much at the moment. And you imagine the Santa Fe Police Department will be updating us as this investigation continues. But Gene Hackman really, Kasia, had the most incredible career. He acted for 60 years, appeared in 100 films, won 2 Oscars, as you said, for The French Connection and Unforgiven, and also won a Golden Globe for the Royal Tenenbaums and won 2 BAFTA awards. And
I wanted to talk about that film, Unforgiven, which was Clint Eastwood, directed by Clint Eastwood, probably one of the lesser known westerns of. I think it might have been the last western that he made. It's a brilliant film. I hope Netflix bring these films back, because this is the way of remembering as well actors like this. Gene Hackman. He contributed a lot to the world. Any actors, singers, people like that, quite often they're not very happy in their lives, are they? I'm not saying that about Gene Hackman. I'm sure he was happy. But, they contribute so much. If you've gone to the cinema and seen a film that you've enjoyed watching, that's because of actors or directors or screenwriters or whatever. people have contributed towards that to bring other people pleasure. They're leaving a positive impact on the world. So whatever's happened in this circumstance, unless he's actually murdered the dog and his wife, which I don't think, he's going to be remembered for the good things, for the positive experiences that people had watching his films, etc. And The Unforgiven is another really good film that maybe people don't know so well as The French Connection and Superman and films like that. It's a really, really brilliant Western. He's just one of those actors. Some actors, they're just so good, aren't they? They stand the test of time, like Gene Hackman, like Clint Eastwood, and Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. It's not about whether you make one film that's a box office success. It's your longevity in the film industry, how much pleasure you bring to different audiences. Same with singers, isn't it? You get singers who come and go, one-hit wonders, etc. I'm not saying they're still giving a positive impact on the world. But when you get singers that, go on for years and young people know about them, old people know about them. If you can have an effect like that on the world, it doesn't have to be a great big thing, just a positive impact on the world. We can all have a positive impact one way or another, can't we? And leave a positive, I don't know, it just give it, like Matthew Perry from Friends, whatever Matthew Perry was or he wasn't. If he was a drug addict, that doesn't take away from the fact he had a positive impact on the world. He made people laugh. I will always be grateful to Matthew Perry, as he was my favourite one from Friends. Whatever, as long as he didn't, as say, murder someone or do some terrible things to people. He was frail. He was a human being. He didn't. We're all human beings. So that's the other thing to remember, because sometimes we put people on pedestals, but anyone you see on the TV or you see in films or you see on YouTube or they're just normal people. They are literally just normal people with the normal frailties that people have. They do some good things in life, they do some bad things, but at least the contribution that they give as far as films or music are concerned. Liam Payne's another one, and we can see from Liam Payne, the demons that he had, and part of it is he was used, but also he went along with that. So but that doesn't take away from what he contributed as well to, people will think of Liam Payne, hopefully won't just remember that he fell off a balcony to his death, but remember the nice music that he made and things like that. And people grew up to One Direction, as people grew up to watching Gene Hackman in films. So I don't think you can do more than that, really. You have to leave some sort of impact on the world, even if it's just that people remember you were a nice person or remember that you smiled at them, or, it doesn't have to be a mega thing like being an actor. It just you always have to think about what legacy you're leaving, don't you? This is going to make me all philosophical now, unfortunately. Sorry. But, it's true, isn't it? You sometimes think, what is the meaning of it all? What's it all about?
He played a real variety of roles, from the real heavyweight, serious roles to ones where he had fun with them and almost poked fun at himself. So the Royal Tenenbaums, which he won a Golden Globe for back in 2001, and also famously played Lex Luthor in the Superman films in the 1970s and 80s, and had a lot of fun playing this very over-the-top villain, the nemesis of Superman. A lot of people perhaps would have watched those films when they were growing up, and he hadn't actually acted in anything new since 2004. So over 20 years ago, he basically made the decision that he wanted to retire from acting, from that public life.
But bear in mind, in 2004, when he retired from acting, he was 74 or something, Wasn't that he retired from acting like he was only 50 or something. He was already 74 and he's lived another 20 years. He has written books. He's you know, he's still been sort of around and about, but he withdrew from acting. Maybe he wasn't getting so many roles because obviously, you know, once you get past that age, there is an ageism. So people like Clint Eastwood, they've turned to directing, hasn't they? Robert De Niro still seems to be in. I'm not sure how old Robert De Niro is, but I've seen him in some really good films lately, and he's in a Netflix series at the moment. So he's still acting, but I suppose it depends.
He was never an actor, though, that you would see at all the different premieres and red carpet events. He was a very private person. And he did say, I trained to be an actor. I didn't train to be a star. I trained to play roles, not to deal with fame and agents and lawyers and the press. And he found it quite difficult to watch himself on screen. He said, it really cost me a lot emotionally to watch myself. I think of myself and I feel like I'm quite young. And then I look at this old man with the baggy chins and the tired eyes and the receding hairline and all that. So he was quite honest about aging and not particularly wanting to see himself aging on screen. But he was obviously a very much loved person as well. And we've talked about how a lot of people, particularly in Hollywood, will be waking up to this news, might not know this news yet. And you imagine that there's going to be tributes coming in.
Oh, of course, yeah, because it may be, where are we now? So he was found yesterday. Oh, you know, I get confused with, so this was in America, obviously. So he was found yesterday in America. We're on Thursday now, of course, in Spain, but America hasn't really woken up proper, has it yet? So, yeah, there'll be a lot coming out later about this. Of course, it'll be night time now in America, or, yeah, it will be nighttime. So, but yeah, that's interesting, isn't what they said? Because imagine, it is difficult getting older. You know, you look in the mirror and you've got a few more wrinkles, you feel a bit older, a little bit more saggy, you can't move around as well as you used to. But you know what? You have to grow old gratefully, don't you? Because some people don't get growing old is a privilege that a lot of people are denied. A lot of people die very young, you know, and then a lot of people don't even get to 10 years old, do they? And then other people, you know, you just never know. It's a lottery, isn't it? So if you manage to get sort of into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you do start to feel older and you do get those aches and pains and maybe health issues, you know, various things. It's bad enough just for us. Like every morning when you get up and look in the mirror, but imagine when you're seeing it on screen as well. So, and not only that, everyone's commenting on it, you know, because people say, oh yeah, you know, Gene Hackman's not looking too clever these days, or, you know, I think women get it more than men do, because especially a woman, if she's been famous for roles, you know, as a beautiful woman, like as the love interest in a film, as she gets older, they've got to change that role, haven't they? They've got to go from being like the leading woman in a film, where they're actually the love interest, then they'll become like the mum or the auntie or the grandma eventually. And if they're a clever actor, they'll go with that and embrace it, you know, because you can't always play like the 25-year-old. Do you know what I mean? And no matter what plastic surgery you have, you're not going to be able to be the 25-year-old in a film. So, you know, you have to move into you have to find a way of, and if you're a good enough actor, and I do think that good actors can do that, whereas bad actors can't do it. You know, so if someone's famous because they're just a handsome guy or an attractive woman, but really they're maybe not brilliant as an actual actor or actress, they find it hard to make that transition because they can't do any more than that role. But the really good actors and actresses, they do manage to, you know, you get a good actor will be able to portray any role, you know, whether it's a younger woman when they're younger or older, you know, the best actors can perform any role, can't they? And they can transition like that. But yeah, there are lots that fall by the wayside, and there's no one more than social media and mainstream media to show that up. You know, you get all these, you know, if they Matthew Perry had that, didn't he? They're always trying to find him throwing his rubbish out in his sweatpants, and they try and catch you at an unflattering angle, don't they? Show that you've put on weight, or you need a bit of plastic surgery or whatever, or you've had plastic surgery and it's gone wrong. The media, especially these days, they're dying for that sort of thing. So it must be difficult, because you can see he's funny, because he wasn't like what you would call a handsome man in the classical handsomeness, if you like. But he was, I don't know, there's something about me, had this rugged sort of charm. And he's like, as he's got older, some actors don't want to go down the plastic surgery route. They don't want to. They just want to grow old gracefully, as I call it, or disgracefully, whichever way. So I'd say Gene Hackman, he wasn't known for his looks, I don't think, like some actors are. But he went with everything. He had this rugged charm. And you get actors like Anthony Hopkins. He's a classic actor. No matter how older he's found a role that will suit him. Brad Pitt, he's another one. He's a very good actor. Tom Cruise. The ones that stand the test of time, for me, even though like Tom Cruise I never liked when he was younger, actually, but I've liked him better as he's got older. Same with Brad Pitt. Sometimes they're better actors when they grow older, or I don't know, because they show their worth as an actor, and they act in all different, they play all different roles. Anyway, to me, he's one of those, or he was one of those. Clint Eastwood is another one.
Thick and fast, because he's worked with some of the greats. I mean, he won one of his Oscars in a Clint Eastwood film, for example. So we're imagining a lot of tributes coming in. But yeah, if you're just joining us, we've heard this very, very sad news this morning that Gene Hackman, who was 95 years old, has been found dead at his home with his wife, Betsy, and their dog in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And we're just getting a few details coming in, because this is very recent. It's breaking news, and police are saying there are no suspicious circumstances, but they haven't given a cause of death as yet. I mean, this couple have been married for a very long time. They've been married since 1991. Betsy was significantly younger than Gene Hackman. She was 63, but they've been married a very long time. And they both moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico together 20 years ago, and rarely seen out in public. We think the last time they were seen out in public, or at least the press saw them out in public, was last year when they were popping out for a coffee, because they were never a couple that courted the spotlight or particularly wanted the spotlight. And as I just said, Gene Hackman said, I trained to be an actor. I didn't train to be a star. So really kind of the significant difference between those two things. He didn't want to be doing celebrity photo shoots, for example.
And he was really just so modest. You read that quote there, how it cost him a lot emotionally to watch himself on screen. But he was once, an incredible thing, if you think about it, he was once described as having the face of a truck.
Sorry, before we'll listen to that again, I just wanted to show, this is another
quote there, how it cost him a lot emotionally to watch himself on screen.
Yeah, this is Ernest Borgnine. He was a very famous actor, brilliant actor. Again, not handsome, he wasn't known for his roles as leading man. But see, I think the reason why I know these actors so well is when I was little, I did used to watch. So, I won't go into reasons, but I watched too much TV, let's put it that way. And I used to watch all the old films. So a lot of these films are literally before my time even. That's how old they are, the black and white films. But I used to watch all these films. I used to love Bette Davis, Joan Crawford, the Ernest Borgnine, and Clint Eastwood and his Western. I watched all those films, so I've grown up with those films, and Gene Hackman was one of these actors, and it feels really weird, to think. And not only that, of course, the way that it's happened.
But he was once an incredible thing, if you think about it. He was once described as having the face of a truck driver, But obviously, we know him as one of Hollywood's most bankable stars and an incredible breadth of range when it comes to the roles.
Yeah, because he wasn't like, he's not classically handsome guy like maybe Rock Hudson was, or even Brad Pitt and actors like that. He's got this rugged sort of charm about him, and they said he was one of Hollywood's most bankable stars back in the day. You put any film you would put him in, it would do well.
That he took upon himself, but arguably never took himself so seriously. Just for viewers just joining us, and I'm going to just repeat this news that we've broken within the past half an hour or so, that Gene Hackman has been found dead at his home along with his wife. And as Charlotte, my colleague who's been monitoring this for us for the past half an hour or so, along with a pet, a family dog. So police saying that they don't suspect foul play, but they don't know the cause of death at the moment. This is an active investigation at the moment, but it will come as a shock. He was 95. His wife, as Charlotte was saying, somewhat younger than him. But this developing story that we are just breaking to you here on BBC News, that Gene Hackman has been found deceased, known as one of Hollywood's greatest tough guys, 6 decades in his acting career, which brought many, over 100 film roles, but many accolades, 2 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTAs, 4 Golden Globes, a Screen Actors Guild Award. Of course, just within the past few days, we had the most recent Screen Actors Guild Awards, and we see these are the awards that are nominated and awarded by the industry themselves. So actors nominating actors, and we know how important these are. Gene Hackman receiving one of those awards. So, this is a guy, a Hollywood acting gold, stardust in terms of his career, born in California in 1930. And as Charlotte was...
Yeah, I think, it's at the end of the day, he's 95 years old. He's had a good life. Of course, what's making it sad, especially sad, if you like, is the circumstances. So him, his wife, his dog have all been found deceased. So it's what happened. Was it some tragic accident like we were talking about, maybe carbon monoxide poisoning, or is this some sort of pact? So, hi, Matthew. And sorry, there was people called, hi Aspen, hi Barbara. Was this some sort of pact, or is this some tragic accident? And Matthew, I know you'll be interested that, he was a confirmed Democrat. I wonder if he's just like, at the end of the day, will that come into it? The circumstances that are going on at the moment in America, will that have any relevance? Will a note be found? We don't know. We've just got to wait and see. Because, of course, America is asleep right now.
Was mentioning an incredible story. At the age of 16, he lied about his age in order to enlist in the US Marine Corps. And then he spent nearly 5 years as a radio operator, then joining the theater group in Pasadena, California, where he became best friends with Dustin Hoffman. I mean, how do you become best friends with Dustin?
Yeah, he became best friends with Dustin Hoffman. Of course, he ended up in films with Clint Eastwood. I mean, you couldn't get much more Hollywood royalty than Gene Hackman. It's so very sad that it's not that he's died, really. At 95, people die, don't they, at the end of the day, or younger. But these circumstances, it just sounds so very sad, doesn't it? But
Hoffman, that's the kind of gold dust that Gene Hackman had. Incredible, absolutely incredible.
So, of course, it's all over the news at the moment. Now, what I want to show you now, though, let's read this. So this is an article that was in the local paper, because, of course, this is Santa Fe in New Mexico, and this is a local newspaper. The sheriff says, Gene Hackman and his wife found dead in Santa Fe home, no foul play suspected. And this is him and his wife a few years ago. She is over 30 years younger than him. That's quite a big difference, isn't it? So if this was in 2003, so that's 22 years ago. So he was in his 70s then, mind you. Looks pretty good there, doesn't he? And she would have only been in her 40s then. So legendary actor, two-time Oscar winner and author, Gene Hackman and his wife, classical pianist Betsy Arakawa, were found dead Wednesday afternoon in their home in the Santa Fe Summit community northeast of the city. Santa Fe County Sheriff Aidan Mendoza confirmed just after midnight Thursday the couple had died along with their dog. Mendoza said in an interview Wednesday evening there was no immediate indication of foul play. I wonder if I can find that interview. I'm going to get up on Google Maps where it is as well. See. Sorry, I'm just having a look. No, that's not it. No, can't find it at the moment. Let's have a look where it is. Oh, hang on, police give statement. No, that's nothing different. Okay, let's carry on reading that. So he said in an interview there was no immediate indication of foul play, did not provide a cause of death or say when the couple might have died. That'll come out later today, I think. So Hackman, 95, had lived in Santa Fe since the 1980s and had married Arakawa, 63, in 1991. So sheriff's deputies arrived at the couple's home on Old Sunset Trail in a gated community off Hyde Park Road just north of 10,000 Waves on Wednesday afternoon to investigate the deaths of two elderly people and a dog. It was unclear whether the deputies were responding to a report of the deaths or were they just making a welfare check at the home. So yeah, it's not clear that if somebody had gone into the house and found them deceased, or if somebody had phoned the police and said, look, can you go in? So this is when he received his award for Best Actor for his role in The French Connection. I think that's his most famous film, personally, The French Connection. But as I say, I would recommend watching all his other films, but especially that Western, The Unforgiven, with Clint Eastwood. So the deputies discovered the bodies of a man in his 90s and a woman in her 60s. Mendoza initially reported, all we can say is we're in the middle of a preliminary death investigation, waiting on approval of a search warrant. So that's interesting because, even though they've sort of gone in there, they know who it is and they know they're deceased, they've still got to get a search warrant. I want to assure the company and neighbourhood that there's no immediate danger to anyone, he said. So then it goes on to talk about Gene, but we have talked about him quite a lot. There's a nice picture of him and his wife. They arrive at the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion in Los Angeles on March the 29th, 1993. So that was 32 years ago, before the 65th Annual Academy Awards, and he won the Best Supporting Actor Award that year for his role in Unforgiven. And that is a must-see film. And in that film, he played Sheriff Little Bill Daggett. So he also played Clyde's brother Buck Barrow in 1967's Bonnie and Clyde. Was that the one with Warren Beatty? I take it that was the film with Warren Beatty, was it? The Bonnie and Clyde film with Warren Beatty or Beatty? He was an FBI agent investigating the murder of civil rights activists in Mississippi Burning. Well, that was another brilliant film. And he played Lex Luthor in several Superman movies in the 70s and 80s. Married to his first wife, Faye Maltese, from 1956 to 1986. And they had 3 children, Christopher, Elizabeth and Leslie. Well, my heart goes out to them. He moved to Santa Fe in the 80s and was often seen around town. In his first few decades in the city, he served as board member of the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum in the 90s and gave remarks when the museum opened its doors in 1997. In the 10 years I've lived here, apparently, he said, I've been taken with the excitement and indomitable spirit of this place. The Tesuque restaurant El Nido, that means the nest, was reportedly a favourite spot for Hackman, who frequently appeared in the New Mexican's popular El Mitote column on celebrity sightings and gossip, which ran for decades before it ended in 2018. But in his last years, he rarely went out publicly, but his few public appearances at times made headlines. Do you know, it's funny, isn't it? Because when stars don't go out all the time, God, if they are sore out, it's like, oh my God, everybody wants those photos, etc. He caused a stir in downtown Santa Fe in 2012 when police said the film star struck a homeless man in self-defense. The New Mexican reported that Hackman told police the man had threatened him and his wife and called his wife a vulgar name. The 2 men had known each other, according to a report of the incident. Hackman told officers he had provided clothes, money and rides to the man for several years, but when the man approached the couple on Marcy Street, Hackman refused to give him money and told him instead to get a job. No one was charged in the incident, which appeared in news reports nationwide. So this is him and his friend Daniel Lenihan, and this discussing the book that they co-authored, Wake of the Perdido Star, in 1999. So it was an adventure novel about 19th century sailors, apparently. And then the New York Post published a story about Hackman doing yard work, pumping gas and getting a chicken sandwich. Oh my God, come on. At a local Wendy's in 2023. Oh, I've got some photos of that. Last year, the paper ran another story about a sighting of Hackman and his wife, this time eating at a seafood restaurant in Albuquerque. Sorry, I'm just laughing because that's it. When stars want to be private, I mean, he did retire from acting. I mean, I have this mixed feelings about fame. Because when people become famous, yeah, they do want the attention, don't they? Of course, but where do you draw the line between privacy and, what you have to give your public something, I think. So at the end of the day, they're the ones that have made you famous. But you don't have to let them know every little single thing you do. You are entitled to your private life as well. So where's the line to be drawn? And it must be so irritating when you think you're just going to pop out, put some petrol in, grab a burger or take your rubbish out to the bin. And all of a sudden there's all paparazzi around you, taking photos of you in unflattering situations. You know, I think you do have to, because nobody, come on, none of us, I don't know about you, but if I take my dogs for a walk, you can bet that the worse I look, if I get up in the morning early enough and I put my face on a bit and I dress half decent, I won't see anybody that I know or anybody at all. And then the day that I go out and I think, oh, I can't be asked, do my hair, I can't be putting my face on, just pull on your worst clothes that you've got, the most unflattering clothes, but they just happen to be there handy. Oh, that's when you'll see everybody you know. Same when you go shopping. You know, you go shopping expecting to see people, you won't see anyone you know. But you go to the supermarket, next minute it's, oh, Vicky, hi. You know, and you're like, oh, God, no, no. You know, I haven't done my hair, I haven't got any makeup on, I haven't even got my lips. No, to be honest, I don't think you would ever see me without my lipstick on, you know, because I always put my lipstick on, if nothing else. But do you know what I'm saying? It's like, so when you're famous, the problem is when you become famous, it's hard to, you can't turn that tap off, can you? Or it's difficult to. And especially with a star like Gene and his wife, who doesn't get, maybe if you did more regular interviews, so you gave the press something, maybe they'd leave you alone. But I think when you don't give them anything, they're always waiting to try and get this. You know, Princess Diana found that, didn't she? She would try and give them a few photos. Here, you know, but not that it worked, of course. You know, if they were on a holiday or whatever, she would say to the press, look, come along, take a few photos, because the press need photos of Diana, or needed photos of Diana to sell their papers. It was of public interest. But then you can't turn it off then, can you? Anyway, so he turned to writing in his later years. He and fellow Santa Fean Daniel Lenihan wrote several books together. Yeah, so, you know, I mean, it's always sad when it's sad when anyone leaves this planet. But this just feels, I don't know, it feels like there's going to be something strange here happened, didn't it? Let's have a look at Santa Fe. Is that on Google Maps, so you know where it is, if you don't know like me. Oh, there's a Santa Fe in Spain, apparently. Santa Fe, America. So, of course, that is a Spanish name. So, well, it's in New Mexico, so it's probably a very Spanish-speaking place. So Santa means saint, and fe means faith. So does it mean sainted faith? Anyway, this is where it is, Santa Fe, New Mexico. Where is it? Oh, no. Oh, yeah. No, that's Spain, isn't it? Oh, God, no, that's in Argentina. No, we don't want the Argentinians. There's probably a Santa Fe in every Spanish-speaking place. Let's have a look. New Mexico we want, don't we? There it is. That's it. New Mexico. So New Mexico then is near Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, yeah, this is a new place for me. Not that far from Colorado. Yeah, I know Colorado. I've heard of obviously, but yeah, I've never really known exactly where that place is. Just near the border. Los Angeles over here. San Francisco. So I don't know, is it a nice place to live? Anybody who's out there from that area or from the USA in general, is it a nice place to live? I mean, America's such a vast place, isn't it? You know, all these states are completely different ways of life. You know, is it a place of a lot of desert like Las Vegas and Arizona, etc.? So if we go in there, there it is, just near Albuquerque. Santa Fe, that's where they'd been living. It's interesting seeing all these Spanish names around there. Agua Fria means cold water. Interesting. I must go to America. Do you think I'll ever get to America before I leave this planet? I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I'd like to go. Okay, so that's that. That's where it's happened. Hi, Moonbeam. Hi, Dottie. Yeah, fame isn't everything it's made up to be, is it? You know, it obviously is good. You know, thing is, people long to be famous, don't they? You know, people, what was it John Lennon said? You know, you spend all your time trying to get there, and then when you get there, you realize there is no there. You know, fame can't make you happy. But of course it helps, you know, financially if you've got money. I think fame must be like an addiction, you know, because people sort of want to get famous, don't they? You know, some people would do anything to be famous. They think it's going to solve everything in their lives, make them happy, you know, but of course it doesn't. And from what I've seen, a lot of famous people are bloody miserable. I'm not saying that about Gene Hackman. Seems like he probably had a happy life, certainly had a long life. But there's quite a lot of famous people and who aren't, like Liam Payne, for example. I'm sure Liam Payne wanted to be famous, didn't he? He wanted to go on the X Factor. He wanted to become famous, and he got what he wanted. But it's like a deal with the devil, isn't it? Especially with Simon Cowell. It's like a deal with the devil. You're making a pact with the devil. Yes, you can be famous, but look, here's the downside. Same with Michael Jackson. You know, you get all the hangers on, you know, offering you drugs or trying to, it's not all it's cracked up to be, is it? Unless you've got a grounded family around you or whatever. I think being famous is really difficult for whatever reason. Some people choose to be famous. Some people are born into famous families and they're never happy. Look at Elvis Presley's grandson. He self-deleted. Look at then who was it? Recently, didn't Lisa Presley die as well? And then you've got Whitney Houston, her children. Whitney Houston was never happy. Her children or her daughter wasn't happy. You look at Bob Geldof, his wife Julia. Oh God, what was her name? Jules, and then their daughter. You know, it's like it doesn't just no guarantee of being famous, being happy, or if your parents are famous. No guarantee. And also money, you know, I know it can make people happy, or it certainly makes your life easier, obviously. But as far as drugs and things like that are concerned, the more money you've got, the more drugs you can afford to take. And then they just screw your head up, don't they? So, okay, let's get off the subject of drugs and or alcohol, of course. And then there's legal drugs as well. Where I want to go now is I want to show you. Oh, so this was I think, is this the one that's got the last picture? No, hang on. No. I need to put some. Yeah, now this was an article in the Daily Mail, and these pictures were apparently taken of Gene 2 years ago. So you can see, obviously, he looks pretty old. Well, he was 93 years old at the time. but he's there, he's getting a coffee, he's what's the word, he's driving, and yeah, he looks old, but he was 93 years old. Let's have a look at the video. I mean, it's a bit wrong.
En Zúrich nos importa tu tiempo, por eso puedes localizar la grúa en tiempo real. Nos importa tu bienestar.
It's a bit wrong because he's eating a burger in his car, so he should be able to do that in privacy, really. God, do you know what? Anyone who's got to 95 or 93 as he was there, they're not going to look like they did when they're in their 40s or their 30s, are they? Oh, we pay cash for videos. Yeah, there you go. Good old Daily Mail, eh? So anyway, these are the photos of him. As I say, doesn't look, because I think Clint Eastwood is he in his 90s now? He's getting that way as well. So they're lucky to get to that age. But, at the end of the day, he's not going to look like he did here. This was his last acting role. And I haven't seen this film, Welcome to Mooseport. I don't know if anyone's seen that, but this was a 2004 comedy. This was his last acting role. That's one film I haven't seen of his, to be honest. And yeah, of course he looks completely different now. He you can't even say looks like an old man. He is an old man. He's 93 years old on these pictures, but he's still driving. He's still enjoying a burger. Good for him. But of course, we don't know what's happened since then. We don't know what point he was. You can deteriorate pretty quick. 2 years later. I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, should they not be allowed to do this? I mean, look, they're making it, it must have been short on news this day. Oh, throwing shade, he wore his sunnies over his olive green hat. I mean, come on. Is that all you had to talk about then? He's making his order in the drive-through. Oh, this is him in a trailer with Kevin Costner. I haven't seen that film either, No Way Out. I don't think I've seen that. Now, I don't know if I'm allowed to show that as far as copyright's concerned.
En Zúrich nos importa tu tiempo. Por eso puedes localizar la grúa en tiempo real.
This is a trailer. I haven't seen that film, No Way Out. I just want to tell you a little anecdotal story about Kevin Costner. So a friend of mine from years ago, she was a massage therapist, and she was working at a hotel in, I don't know if it was Thailand or, some Asian country, Thailand, Vietnam or somewhere like that. And Kevin Costner came to her for a massage. And he asked her if she did a happy ending. He actually asked her if she did a happy ending, and she said no. I'll never know, only she knows the truth. But yeah, Kevin Costner asked her for a happy ending. But little anecdotal story there.
He liked excitement.
Take us somewhere.
He wanted her. Their passion upset.
He's another very good actor, of course. Even if he does ask for happy endings when he has a massage, he's still a good actor.
The balance of power.
What's all this top secret business I've been hearing about over the Pentagon? I work for Bryce.
Then that makes two of us.
This one can do things for me like no other woman I've ever met.
Behind the cover-up.
Try and understand.
The power.
The important thing is to avoid an investigation before it ever gets to you.
I must look out for that film. That looks good. No Way Out. I haven't seen that one.
You haven't told me everything. Who's running this thing at the Pentagon?
The new boy, Farrell.
so we can take the fall in case anything goes wrong.
The loyalty.
I love you. I promise I'll work everything out.
Oh,
How did you actually meet the Secretary of Defense?
oh my God, he looked quite sexy there, didn't he?
These people have already tried to kill one person who knew.
Bring this one down. No, you can't take that.
Behind the deceit.
If it were your intention to bring down David Bryce, then I'd have no choice but to make sure that you didn't get away with it.
They mean to kill me, Sam.
Because of the truth, there's no way out. Kevin Costner.
Yeah, so that looks like a good film, but I haven't seen that one. If anybody's seen it, let me know. So apparently he was seen doing some yard work as well. So this was a good headline in the Daily Mail at some point. Hi, Julie. Oh, I hope your cat's okay, Julie. Is your cat okay? Is your cat okay? Let me know. Just make sure I haven't missed anybody else coming in. I don't think so. Yeah, I think people are just getting, getting to hear this news, aren't they? And in America, they'll just be waking up to it as well. Yeah, I think, Kevin Costner, he did look nice on there. So she did quite well refusing him a happy ending, didn't she? I mean, she didn't even ask him how much. Sorry, I'm only joking. Oh, I'm sorry to hear he's not well, Julia. I hope he gets better. Yeah, so he was doing some yard work, putting his best foot forward. The Poseidon Adventure, that's a good film. I have seen that, The Poseidon Adventure. It's a brilliant film. Kept it comfortable in rugged black sneakers. The Poseidon Adventure, of course, it's been done again. This is the old version of the Poseidon Adventure that he was in, but there's been a more recent. And that's a good film as well. Back in the day, he eventually moved to New York and began performing in several off-Broadway plays. So bearing in mind, he started off really at the age of, they said 16? 15, lying about his age to get in the Royal Marines. Of course, you couldn't do that now, but then you could do that. He got in the Royal Marines, he served in the Royal Marines, and when he came out, that's when he went into acting. I wonder what made him decide to go into acting. So this was 1965. He's not, so he was 35 then. He's not a classically handsome guy, is he? But there's some rugged charm about him. So he officially became a leading man when he won the Academy Award for Best Actor for his performance as New York City detective Jimmy Popeye Doyle in The French Connection. That's probably his most famous role, isn't it? Oh, and also Lex Luthor that I'm going to show you. So he went on to have consistent work, including in disaster film The Poseidon Adventure 1972 and Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation. I don't think I've seen that. Francis Ford Coppola, he was a very famous director. Did he do Apocalypse Now with Marlon Brando? Didn't he make that film? Yeah, that's a nice picture of him. And this was in Deauville, France, back in 1981. So bearing in mind, he was 50 then. I mean, do you know what? He did sort of age well. Nobody at 95 is going to look fantastic, are they? And that was, 2 Oscars. I really want to see this film again now, Unforgiven. Brilliant film. I hope Netflix, come on Netflix. You need to get back on these, you need to start putting all these films on Netflix, I think. Okay, now what have I got? I've got one more thing that I'd like to show you, which is him acting in as Lex Luthor in the Superman films from ages ago. Oh gosh. So Julie, do you know what? It just shows you never know what people are going through, do you? Julie's vet, she's just saying, well, if you watch in chat, you can see. You just never know what people are going through in their lives. And I think that's pertinent to this story, what was happening in that household. But let's have a look at him now. Again, I don't know if I'm going to get done for copyright on this. You just don't know. I just have to keep stopping it and starting it and hope that there's no copyright issues. So this is Lex Luthor. This is Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor in the old Superman films with Christopher Reeve. He had a very sad, do you know, so many famous people have sad lives, don't they? You know, terrible things happen to them. Christopher Reeve had a very bad accident and he became a paraplegic.
Del X, Lutherville, Marina Del X, Otisburg. Otisburg?
Where's this monster? She's got her own place, man.
Otisburg?
It's a little bitty place.
Otisburg?
Otisburg?
I just wipe it off. That's all. It's a little town.
You're a dreamer, Lex Luthor.
What do you want?
You know, that little scene there with him going Otisburg, that reminded me of Elon Musk. Elon Musk could be like that. What? Call it Elonburg or Muskburg. Oh my God. So tonight in the members, we're gonna look at, so I've got, oh my God. Honestly, I'm definitely living in a parallel universe at the moment. Got to see, have you seen the video that Donald Duck released about how Gaza will look? But it's obviously been made by Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not even elected, at least Donald Trump. He is elected, at least, you know, he was elected. He is unfortunately, the will of the American people. But Elon Musk, who is he? Just some billionaire. Anyway, I'm not going to go on about that now. And the other thing I just want to say, YouTube don't like it when you make videos about Donald Duck and Elon. You know, they literally don't like it. I've had to remove a couple of videos. That's a bit worrying as well. I tell you, anyway. Okay.
General, the world is a big place. Thank goodness my needs are small. As it turns out, I have this affinity for beachfront property.
What?
Now, I didn't mean to put it on. So he's another famous actor that, again, if you're of my...
The world is a big place.
Of
Thank
my
goodness,
vintage, you will know. Is it Terence Stamp? He's a famous British actor, very good actor.
My needs are small. As it turns out, I have this affinity for beachfront property.
What do you want?
Australia.
Oh my God! Oh my God, that is Donald Trump, 100%, isn't it?
Australia.
Oh my God, what do you want? Australia and Greenland and Britain and any other country and Gaza. Yeah, I want all those countries. Oh my God. Oh God. So these are things that used to be funny and now they're actually in normal life and nobody's saying anything about it. Anyway, never mind. Yeah, Terence. Oh, was his dog sick? You know, I think that's exactly it. I don't believe he would have killed he or his wife or anyone. I think there's something going on in that family bubble. But the thing I don't understand is his wife, of course, is quite young. You know, in comparison, in her 60s, she's got many years to go, hopefully. Or she did have. So that's a bit. But yeah, I thought maybe, you know, at the end of the day, if your dog was elderly and ill, You know, it's, gosh, I'm getting emotional again now. I'm just going to check because I'm going to go in a minute, but I'm just going to check to see if any other news. Right, let's see. Now, there will be news later, and I'll talk about it in the members, whatever comes up, because, as I say, America, at the moment, all I can really see, just the police, all it says here on Sky News is the police are looking for a search warrant. There may be some more up-to-date news, but that's all that's coming up on. People are... Francis Ford Coppola has hailed an inspiring and magnificent actor. He must be quite elderly now. You know, so everybody's talking about the different sort of his different roles and tributes to him, etc. So, but I'll be back later in the members, and yeah, be back later in the members. We'll talk a bit more about this. It's very, very sad news. I think it's going to prove to be a tragedy on many levels. I just hope it's not some sort of red rum self-deletion. If it was a pact and they all made that, obviously the dog couldn't make the decision, but if the dog was very ill, you can sort of at least put your head around it. But yeah, I think this is going to go down as one of those, you know, it's just a tragedy, isn't it? Hey, we do, Moonbeam. We definitely do. We live in an episode of Black Mirror, don't we? Every day is like I'm in a parallel universe for various things. Where's the sanity? You know, and do you know what's worrying me the most at the moment is when Trump is doing the things he's doing, and if anyone's seen that video of Gaza, you know, Trump's vision of Gaza or Elon Musk's, it's terrifying. If Putin or Netanyahu or anyone else, these videos that he's putting out and these assertions he's putting out, they're just like, they're no better than what they do in North Korea or anywhere like that or any other dictatorship. But people just laugh when Donald Trump does it as if, you know, like it's funny. It's not funny. It's not bloody funny. Yeah, it feels like it. Feels like it. Oh, hi, Joanne. Oh, it's just finishing now. We're just finishing now. But you can do the catch up. You can do the catch up, and then Nightbot won't attack you. Yeah, let's hope that other people are seeing it, but I don't know. In fact, I might even try and find it. Even Sky News said it was a bizarre video. I'll show it now, but I'm not going to comment on it now. We'll look at it tonight in the members. Yeah, have you seen this? I mean, it's like beyond just... I have no words. Let's put it that way. I'm going to play out with this. I've got no words to express how scary this is for me. You know, just is. Now, up to now, you think, oh, yeah, that's nice. Going to rebuild Gaza. It looks a bit like Dubai, doesn't it? And, you know, brilliant. Then listen to the song and watch the video.
Bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels.
What's it got to do with Elon Musk? Elon Musk has not been elected by anybody.
No more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining.
Yeah, big gold balloons of Donald Trump's head, like something from Stalinist Russia or from North Korea.
Bright, golden future, a brand new life. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, #1. Trump Gaza shining bright. Golden future, a brand new.
Gold statues of Donald Trump. Could you imagine if Putin did that? I honestly, literally was speechless when I saw this video.
Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump.
With Netanyahu on a beach bed, on a bed. I mean, do you know, and the thing is, I'll probably get demonetized for this video because they don't like it when you put things out about Trump. Whenever I do it, I mean, I won't, you know, this isn't a video about Trump. This is a video about Gene Hackman. But I tell you, YouTube is straight on it.
Gaza, #1.
We'll watch it one more time, eh? And then I'm going to say goodbye.
Donald is coming to set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza, #1.
There you go. So I'm sure you'll all let me know what you think about that in comments. You know, we've got a man who's Joanne, it was on Truth Social. It was Trump that released it on Trump Social. Is it, what's it? Truth Social. It was Trump who released that video on Truth Social. You can check on his thing if you like. Oh yeah, definitely approved it. So we've got a man who's been voted in, and we've got a man who's the richest man in the planet who's not been voted in. And to me, the whole thing is terrifying. But that video especially, it scared me. I didn't like it at all. Reminded me of North Korea. And you know, who they're going to try and take on. You're going to try. Anyway, never mind. Okay, so yeah, prayers for Gene and his wife and his dog, as you say, Joanne. Let's see. Let's see what comes out. I hope there's no red rum involved here. I'm hoping that if it's anything, it is a pact maybe between that family. And she just seems so young, the wife, doesn't she, you know? But maybe she just didn't want to live without Gene. You know, sometimes we saw it with the twins, didn't we? We saw it with the twins in Scotland. Sometimes people take these decisions together. But anyway, as much as... Okay, thank you so much. I'll see you really soon in the next video. Let me just put my banner on because please, please, please don't forget to like. Leave your DNA on the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And now, if there's any, I will be talking about this again now. Tonight is members live, so I probably won't be back publicly tonight, but I'll be back at some point. Whatever we find out about what's happened here, I'll be letting you know. So thank you so much. I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, rest in peace, though, Gene and his wife and the dog. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. I love you.